Hello and welcome to the show. We are back on Forza Horizon 3, making another hill climb monster. Today we are using our first Audi. It has been pointed out to me that an Audi hasn't gone in this series, so we are going to have a go with the RS4. Now, the last time an Audi ran in a rally series, the RS2 Avant was very, very quick indeed. This RS4, I don't know. I think there is potential for it to be fast. The difficulty with it, and the difficulty with a lot of the Audis, relatively high starting PI on this car. By the time we put on the snow tyres, that's one class already. Now, it does, of course, start off with a decent amount of power at 420. However, yeah, not a huge amount in terms of PI to work with. We are going to give the vehicle some aero parts. Now, I think the RS2 Avant might well have had an engine swap. I think it ran the V10. Okay, that's curious. So, we can have the 6.2 litre V8, the Mercedes V8. We can have the V10. We can fit the V12 in this car. That's promising. Now, we have got to keep the standard engine if it can get the power, which I would imagine it probably can do after all. Ooh, we can play around with aspirations. We might come to that as well. We probably will come to that as well. The big question, as is often the case with these builds, is what do we do about weight reduction? Of course, the Audi is relatively heavy to begin with, especially if we're going to be swapping on superchargers and so on. It is going to be, or superchargers and turbochargers and so on, it's relatively heavy to begin with. But, of course, the more weight we take out of the car, the more PI we increase. I am thinking that the PI gain, I'm thinking we go mid-level weight reduction. I think we get, 300 and a bit, 324 pounds out of the car, but we have PI to play with in terms of getting some power in the vehicle. Because if we run it with just the 400 horsepower, it's not going to work. 400 horsepower on its own is just not going to be anywhere near enough. Now, thankfully, this stuff here it's not adding a huge amount of power, isn't adding a huge amount of PI either. We'll see what we can do with a naturally aspirated Audi. I'm fairly sure we're going to need some form of... we don't have a huge amount of torque in this, actually. It's struggling a little bit in terms of the torque. Yeah, we're going to want some form. We might have to come back now and take some of those parts off. We have got... So we can go single turbo, we can go twin turbo, we can go positive displacement supercharger or a centrifugal supercharger. The single turbo is the lightest of the options. Of course, with the supercharger, you won't get any lag. Not that that's ever really a problem on this car. In fact, the power band's not bad either. Not that you ever really have problems because you're going to be in the right gear at the right time because it's a racing game. Power curve actually slightly better on the single turbo option, so that's what we're going to go for. We will then go and probably grab a turbo upgrade. That should put us to the top. Oh, 1 PI too much. If we go then Sport Turbo, I don't think we did. We didn't do pistons, did we? Perfect. 721 horsepower in the Audi. 500 torque, 3,300 pounds. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I feared the power to weight ratio might be a bit worse in the RS4. This could actually overall work out quite nicely. Oh, I have had just a small thought. I'm so used to drivetrain swapping cars that none of this stuff here already comes with a... Oh, okay. We'll do that then. It already comes with, some... element of half decent driveline. When you swap cars, it upgrades everything to the sport level. I'm kind of so used to swapping cars that I was kind of working on default. Thankfully, we can still do just about what we want. We get that stage of flywheel in as well. That saved us some weight. Glad I thought about all of that. Yeah, sometimes when you go to the sport gearbox over a normal gearbox, it lowers the PI, and I don't know why. Especially considering this one here is all better. Sometimes it changes gear ratios weirdly, but bugger it, that's a huge bonus. We'll have a look at clutch. Nah, it's going to jump the P up a little bit. You never know. Occasionally you get lucky. Well, this is an interesting one, actually. This is an interesting one, the RS4. I think it could go... I don't think it's quite going to go to the top of the table. However, I do think this might be a pretty decent car. So, it is off to the Devil's Corners hill climb with our RS4. I'm going to get 3 runs up this course to try and go faster than the BMW 507. Our current leader, a 155.9, is proving to be a mighty quick time. As far as targets for the Audi go, I don't think we're going to have that speed. I mean, the BMW had more power, less weight, and fairly similar sized tyres. I suspect this Audi might be a little bit easier to control than the BMW, but we're just not going to have the brutal acceleration of that 507. But a top 10 might be doable for the RS4. I'm not sure we've quite got the acceleration of the cars that are in that top 10. We'd have to make up all of our time to the corners. This doesn't have the largest tyres, but with that little bit more weight, you can sometimes get a little bit more stability, especially across the bumps. We might find that it deals with them a little better. The downside of the weight, it is going to be not quite so good through the corners, and it's more difficult to simply accelerate the car forward. There is more weight to drag up the side of this mountain. It's never going to be a light car, though. It's never going to be a light car, is the RS4. Oh, that's some understeer. I've got that corner all wrong. That was more my bad than the car's fault. We'll go down there. Okay. A little bit in between gears there. How are we doing for straight line speed? It's 115 miles an hour, but that was with a terrible, terrible run onto that straight. So we're not too bad off for speed. We're at acceleration towards this next jump. Again, we've seen speeds of up to about 111 miles an hour. It isn't quite as quick in the Audi to be expected. Hopefully we can make up some time. It does feel very, very good through that hairpin. We're carrying decent speed through that section. Up across the jump we go into the hairpin. Now we might not have too many issues. Yeah, it's not too bad on the traction coming up some of these steeper corners. Can we be flat out towards the icy straight? It's a horrible... well, we can probably be if I don't get things wrong. It's a horrible corner because you kind of have to turn on the jump to get it where you want it to go. It's not been a great first run from me. Just little mistakes. Oh, the turning is good there, though. Leaving the icy straight is fantastic in the RS4 as we bounce our way down towards the penultimate corner, and then one final turn to go. Yeah, a couple of places I was a little bit wide, can definitely improve. Decent first run, though. Decent first run indeed from the Audi, a 58.1. Yeah, top 10. Top 10 I think can be doable. Definitely places that can have some big improvements. That's, yeah, a very, very good car. So, as we head on to our second run, let's try and not get caught out by the understeer. Happens to just about everything on this course, and yeah, we can, I think, get definitely into the possibly even into the low 57s with a very, very good run. I think 56s might be pushing our luck a tad. Only 3 cars have actually gone into the 156, and the BMW sub 156, and yeah, they were crazy power to weight ratio vehicles, and hell, this has probably got one of the less impressive power to weight ratios. Well, it still does have 700 horsepower. Yeah, it's got one of the less impressive power to weight ratios, but this time is all being made up through the corners. Not the first car to do things. Might be one of the more spectacular ones to do it in this manner. Now, try and get the car turned a little bit better here. Get onto this back straight. Oh, a bit of oversteer going onto the back straight this time. Well, we've gone from understeer to oversteer. How are we going to be doing speed-wise? I'm not sure it's going to be any better. No, in fact, it's a little bit worse that time around. Yeah, I was taking a different line. We've got a kick of oversteer through the corner. Okay, we're going to have to try again. I love that sort of this double apex corner heading on to that back straight is a brilliant corner when you get things right. Not always the easiest one, though, to get things right. I'm actually surprised to see the oversteer from this car. Big Audi's notoriously understeery. Again, I know we're on snow, but we haven't seen oversteer being a real problem for, aside from the really ludicrous cars like the Brat and the little Honda, oversteer hasn't really been a problem for most of these vehicles. Now, if we turn, there we go, we turn as we head across the jump. That is more likely. We are absolutely flat out onto the icy straight. Plenty of grip to spare in the big Audi as we leave. Oh, didn't quite get it as well that time around. That was by driving, not the car's fault. It's still, though, plenty of speed. We were running that one very, very close to the wall. Into this penultimate corner we go, and the final turn. We're going to run towards the line. There is grip, there is traction. Very, very similar time. We were scruffy in different places. That's some impressive consistency between those first 2 runs. My controller's managed to turn off. Thank you, controller. It's plugged in as well. I've got a dodgy charging cable. Oh, no, that's not good. No, get bad game. Why have you done that? Well, Audi impressive. My controller, not so much. So, with our technical difficulties sorted, we are on to the final run with our RS4. I'm hoping we can get into the 57s. We only need a little bit of time to get into the 57s. I have to say, this vehicle has been a pretty damn easy one in some respects to drive up this mountain. Maybe not quite as much fun as the MX-5, but it's a car that you can feel confident in pushing through these corners. The only mistakes that I've made have kind of been just little scruffy errors, running a tad wide, getting a little bit too much understeer and that kind of thing. We've not had big spins down the icy straight and clonking into walls and so on. It's, yeah, quite a forgiving vehicle when things go a little bit awry. My only real complaints are just like a little bit more grip, overall grip in this car. The front end, it does get turned in quite nicely when you get things right, but is this just, I can't carry, physically can't carry the quarter speed that I would ideally like to be challenging right at the very top. We don't have the acceleration to make up for that little bit of lack of cornering grip as well. A couple of sizes bigger tyres, 295s perhaps on this, and it would be a ridiculously quick car, I reckon, up this course. But we've got what we have got, and of course, if we did have bigger tyres, we'd probably be able to get less power in it because of the way the PI system works. But there we go. Yeah, I think things are going quite well on this run. Get it slowed down for the hairpin. Try not to waste too much time with either oversteer or understeer. Yeah, we kind of get a little bit of both at varying different times, and I would rather not have either, quite frankly. Up towards the icy straight we go. We are going to be flat out heading down here as we get the checkpoint, avoiding the ice. Oh, a little bit bumped there, However, we are around, carry a lot of speed on the way. So close to the wall. On the way off, that's a little bit too much oversteer, though, from the big Audi. Get it turned in to the penultimate corner, trying to get a better line so we can get around this final turn. Oh, and I wish we had that tiny bit more grip. It is into the 57s. I think it was a 57.5 in the end. Indeed it was, 57.551. Oh, if we had that little bit more grip. Just a bit more grip would be lovely in this Audi. Nevertheless, the time is good. It will move the car into 13th place on our table, beating the Porsche 718. The Land Rover Series 3 does go a fair bit quicker than, or half a second quicker than the Jaguar F-Type, which in this series is a fair bit quicker. It beats the F-Type, also beats the MX-5. It loses out fractionally on that top 10 spot, though it can't quite beat the 911 or the Donkavort that are tied for 10th. It's a couple of tenths of a second down on the Lamborghini Countach, the Lancia Stratos Group 4. Yeah, it is just that fraction too little grip on the Audi that does it in, and it's, yeah, a little bit of a shame. It's a little bit of a shame when you try to get on, certainly as we're coming out of that final quarter, I'm trying to get on the power, trying to get towards the finish line, and it just doesn't have the grip. I can't carry the ultimate quarter speed that I want to. I mean, hell, getting 57.5 is still a very, very quick time up this course. We're only half a second off the Volvo in 4th place. It's just that little lack of grip at some critical moments that will, I imagine, easily cost it that half a second. It does well, though, bearing in mind, sort of power to weight ratio wise, we are miles down on the likes of the Volvo and so on. So yeah, time is made up in the corners. I just can't quite make up enough because we do still slip and slide our way around a little bit. We get some understeer, we get some oversteer, and some neutral steer in places. It's just, yeah, could do with a bit bigger tyres on the Audi. However, is a remarkably consistent car, remarkably easy car in many ways to push very hard, and yeah, a decent time indeed. That, though, is going to be it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.